Welcome everyone to another episode of Nita Nay's Books for Author's Point of View. Thank you for joining me today. My guest is Chontali Kirk. She is a wife, a mother. She is a teacher, an editor. She is a songstress, and she's a new author. Her book is titled Unprideful Light. Welcome, Chontali. Welcome, Chontali. We're going to get straight into your book. It is a powerful book, Unprideful Light. So tell me how that process came about. How did you really think about writing this book and putting it out now?
Okay. Well, just to tell you the origins of the book, years ago, my husband and I went through some traumatic events where initially we had a miscarriage. We suffered a miscarriage, and then thereafter, I was unable to conceive ever again. And so, and actually, it's interesting that different things would happen to me on my journey to healing from that. But first, what I'll say is me and my family were very creative. We've always written, we've always sang, did artistic things. But when we went through that time of infertility, it just seemed like because I couldn't create a child, the idea planted in my mind that I just couldn't create anything at all. So that part of my life was just impacted. It was attacked. And unfortunately, I believed in all the doubtful, the thoughts of doubt, in my head, which was the enemy. But, I healed from that by just being creative with other people. And years down the line, finally God said, okay, so now what did I call you to do? So he's called me obviously to help other people with their project, but he also was like, you need to share your story too, and you need to share the ingredients and the things that have helped you. And so with the book Unprideful Light, God revealed to me that whether you are consumed with thoughts that are higher than yourself, where you're thinking you're better than, or even thoughts where you're thinking you're not good enough, these are still thoughts that are exalting themselves above what God says, which is, I chose you and I called you and I set you aside for this particular purpose, and you need to perform it. So obviously it's our purposes are not for ourselves, but they're for the glory of God. And so that is why the book came to be. It's first, to memorialize my experience. So it's something that I can refer back to. And also it's something that I'm contributing to the body of Christ, and for all of those who feel fearful and reluctant to do what God has called them to do.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I was able to read everything, and it really struck me that it does it finds you right where you are, or maybe 2 weeks ago, or maybe 2 years ago, of this is what I was dealing with. And so to know that timidity is, it hits everybody. It really does, across the board, and it was just like, even with this channel, I just told you earlier, even with this channel, it's just like, I'm like, okay, am I qualified for this? I'm like, okay, Lord, you brought it. And so, but even in that process of getting this together and starting it, it was just like everything worked the way that it was supposed to work. So tell me, in your process of writing this, what was your challenge in finishing the book, or even getting, because I know you said that you had started it like 15 years ago and you were going through those issues. what challenges other than that did you find in completing your book?
Well, it was mainly time. Okay, so I'm a full-time educator.
Right. She's
And
a teacher.
yeah, I'm a teacher, and of course, I help others publish their books. So it was making the decision to prioritize what God told me to do and just fit it into my schedule versus saying, I don't have time. I don't have time, because
Right.
you make time for what you need to, and if God
Right.
doesn't do it,
You better make time.
you better make time. Yeah.
Right.
So honestly, like, I know that sounds easy, but just like God uses me to help people publish their books, I needed help with time management. So I
Right.
have a wonderful coach, and her name is Najuma Smith Pollard. She actually wrote the foreword of my book.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she has a ministry called Living on Assignment. And so her ministry is all about coaching you to help you like manifest what God's told you to do.
Exactly.
And so we spent time, and we, set goals on how to execute the vision. And so I have like 3 more chapters to finish this year. I was able to, sit down in her group, and just schedule how to finish.
Right. Well, and I think that's also important too, because for beginner writers, if they're in their, beginning process, they're, even in their middle and they're not really finished, they need to know that if you get stuck, if you get, to the point where you can't always do it by yourself.
Right.
You need that support group, or you need that person who your accountability partner, or someone who can give you that, maybe that nudge, or, that direction or that pathway, because God uses everybody, whoever he brings in our lives is there for a person. So I'm glad you're saying that you sought out some coaching, because that's important too. We have to be able to invest in ourselves in that process. So that's important to know in your process. So what has been the most interesting or fun since you completed the book?
So the most fun thing is to have confirmation, first of all, that this book is helping people, right away. So I get text messages, posts, saying like, oh my God, I'm timid, and so this really speaks to me, and it helps me, but the funny thing about it is dealing with timid people. So it's all, text message or private message.
Right, exactly.
Fine. So I have to sometimes do the next step, and I'm not a great marketer, but like, can you write a review? Can you,
Right, exactly.
So,
exactly. And I think, I won't say, unless you Jerry Jenkins or Stephen King or somebody who's been doing this for 50 million years, okay, there is going to be some timidity in that part, because the marketing part, especially if you're an indie author, is pretty much on you unless you hire somebody to do it. And so it's just, learning that process of, putting your stuff out there and being okay with doing it, and being confident in doing it. And so it's very important. Because even my book has been out a while, but even just now, I'm just now, putting out like excerpts of it. Or, I'm just like, okay, I have to move outside of just doing the picture. I have to do something different. So that's important. So tell me, in your process of writing, I know we talk about how we write. Is there a specific program that you use? What do you use in regards to when you write your information. I know there's Google Docs. There's, I use Pro Writing Aid and Fictionary. So what do you use to help you in your process from beginning to end? And even, I know you did it in ebook as well. So.
Yes, so I use very simple tools, Microsoft Word, Google Docs, for the, the page breaks and the track changes. For ebook, well, okay, before I say that, I use Kindle publishing, direct publishing tools as well. For the ebooks, I convert using, it's in a software called Calibri. Okay, it's a free download, and it will download free EPUBs and MOBI files. For book covers, my husband does the book cover.
Okay.
All the book covers, so he uses Adobe Illustrator. So those are the things we use.
Okay. So tell me also. No, go ahead.
InDesign. I'm like one of those.
Oh, InDesign?
Yes, InDesign.
Okay. I think I've heard of that as well, InDesign. I've never used it, but so tell me, in the process of writing this book, what really stood out to you in regards to Unprideful Light, that really, other than your own testimony, that really struck you when you were writing it?
So the biggest thing that struck me is, like you mentioned before, it actually wasn't 15 years ago. It was that was when the trauma happened. And not even that long. It's been more like 10 years. I started writing the book maybe like 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
But the thing that struck me is, I won't say any titles or anything, but all of a sudden, with the racial uprisings from this year and just the reckoning of the church, a lot of people started preaching the message that was in my book.
Wow. Okay.
I was like, oh, like, has somebody been, I mean, I'm not saying I discovered something new or anything.
Right.
It was just confirmation to go ahead and publish the book.
Right.
And also, it helped me to expand the message from just something personal to something that the body of Christ, the church, was going through. Just being here, not wanting to speak out, against injustice or, whatever the situations are, not tapping into their spiritual gifts for the Christ, even people, I'm not afraid to say, so I'm not going to say any names, but building their own kingdoms instead of God's kingdom.
Right.
So all of these things happen in the church. And so both messages, like the timidity factor, the fear factor, also the pride factor, we're doing this for God.
Right.
We're doing this for God, for the glory of God, and to help the people, to help, those who are vulnerable and who need to hear the message. And we're supposed to be the light, Matthew 5, 15 and 16. So that is mainly what helped me to understand that it showed me that this book was helpful. It would be helpful for the body of Christ.
And it's right on time, and it's necessary. So in regards to, what do you have coming up? What are you going to, is this going to be your only book?
No.
I hope not. Okay.
Yes. Hopefully.
So you plan on writing any more? What are you doing right now? How has this COVID stuff affected you as a teacher, as a person who's, you've written a book? How has this experience kind of ignited you to do other things, outside of teaching?
Well, so just helping with prayer ministries, like, I know your great aunt, Mamie Leonard, and the
Right.
shut-ins and everything that she started. I've just been studying, you know, the movements.
Okay.
And just getting in position. I've just been promoting people just getting in position, you know. And so I am working on, it's another resource called Radiant Devotion, you know.
Okay.
And it's dealing with that whole experience with Moses and how he sought God face to face. He would leave the glory of God, the residue,
right,
on him. But I'm just focused on, you know, helping others tap into the spiritual gifts, old but being mature too,
right,
developed. And of course, it starts with me. So
that's doesn't it always start with us? I was like,
yeah,
I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's just, but I think that's important to say, because we can't, unless we experience it, unless we, you know what other people are feeling, it's not going to resonate. It's not going to, like, how does she know about it? You know, but when you, like in Unprideful Light, when you have your own testimony to say, this is what I went through, and this is what, you know, it resonates with other people and other readers. So we're almost at the end, but I have one more question. What does Chontali and her family do for fun?
What do we do for fun? Okay, so my husband loves comedy, so you know, we can't go out, obviously,
right.
But you know, movies. I read, you know, I'm a nerd, but we like to eat.
Right. Yes.
So just music, and we're getting back into that, and plays. My daughter's a thespian, so entertainment is basically comedy, movies, music, food.
Oh, good. It's good. That's great. Well, thank you, and I appreciate you for your candid interview. Thank you. I'll have you back on when you do your other book, okay?
Thank you, Anita.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If there's anything I missed, we'll get it in the next one. Okay. All right. Have a good one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me again. Special shout out to Chontali Kirk for her candid interview. On next week, join me again for another special episode with Kathleen Leonard. She is an Emmy-nominated hairstylist to the stars. Join me next week. Bye.